I've still eaten my cake too in my times, but to be to give the right example, not necessarily the right example, but to my point is that I've lived both lives, not being with God's happiness, being in relationship with Jesus, and letting the Holy Spirit do what it needs to do to help me gain wisdom. And I have lived the life of a faithful Christian and lived it out. Did I fall a couple times? Yeah, of course, it's gonna happen. But the feeling of being able to have someone to turn back to, and not necessarily a person where you'll get a facial judgment or you'll get them talking about you behind your back. You get that feeling of comfort that you know that who you're talking to wants you to do better and positive with your life and wants nothing but the best for you. So getting more into it. The happiness which brings enduring worth to life is not the superficial happiness that is dependent on circumstances. It is happiness and contentment that fills the soul even in the midst of the most distressing of circumstances. And and the most adverse environment. Circumstances in the most environment. What? Even in the midst of the most distressing of circumstances and the most adverse environments, it is the kind of happiness that survives when things go wrong and smiles through the tears. The happiness for which our souls ache. Excuse me. Our souls ache in one unsubdued by success or failure, one which dwells deep within us and gives us inward relaxation, peace, and contentment, no matter what the surface problems may be. The kind of happiness stands in need of no outward stimulus. Powerful stuff. We're having a little bit of noise, which is okay. But I need to make sure I unlock this door. And yes, you're going with me play by play as I kind of go to the closet to finish this, since it's a little distracting for me. Which is alright. Alright. Hopefully the connection goes pretty good. I just want it to be a little bit more quiet so you can have a good understanding. Mic is right there. Okay, sorry about that. So basically we're covering the rest of this, the meaning of happiness, the two kinds of happiness, and bursts, which I will burst. Let's go with burst of perfection. We will play a good game. We will, and I'm talking about in sports, not the game of life, but we will also be able to do that workout without taking a rest, or we'll be able to do these certain things and it'll be perfect, but you will fall in a workout. You will have bursts of unfulfillment even when you're busy. You will not achieve the things that you want to achieve because it's maybe something that you don't need to achieve. Maybe it's just something that you think you need to achieve. There's also times where we'll feel as if God doesn't love us. But that's not so true, because you try to be so perfect, you can't let God even use you. Because God can't use someone that thinks they're perfect. It's not going to work. You got to let him take the wheel. You got to let him take the wheel. Take your will and let him also drive. And it is not easy. But when it comes down to it, there's nothing that we can do that could keep us happy. There's nothing that we can do that can keep this world happy. We're always going to hunger for more. They're always going to hunger for more. And it's just the way it goes. It's the way it will always go. And it is definitely something that we all need to understand. And it looks like I've been going 38 minutes. Okay, so we're on task. I don't know what this little ducky button is on the speaker. I guess that's a new addition. Shout out to Speaker for, I don't know what that is, but it looks pretty cool. Maybe it's something that you could press it or something. I don't know. Let's try it. Auto ducking? Really? Let's put a little auto ducking in there. That's interesting. Okay. We're going to chill on that. I have no idea what that is. We're going to have to look deeper into that. Well, basically, we covered the meaning of happiness. There's two kinds of meanings. You either search it on your own. But my point to what I was saying is, we'll never be happy enough if we continue to search on our own. In our jobs, in our relationships, in our athletics, we give it all up to God and let him manifest it. And then who were humble and generous, seeing their wealth as a God-giving means to help others. The Bible, however, warns that riches easily overwhelm a person, destroying his values, making him proud and arrogant, and making him think he does not need God. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in their destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's one thing that, I've talked about, I've heard other people talk about. It's not necessarily the love. The love of money is the root of all evil, but not being wealthy is not evil. Some of us have been blessed to be able to be wealthy and to be able to help others out. And unfortunately, some of us grew up in families that were poor, and we lack the savings ability and just all overall mentality to become wealthy because we didn't really get a good head start. But you know what? At the end of the day, we all learn in many ways, either being poor or being rich. You're going to learn. You're going to learn in this life, whether you like it or not. So you might as well be happy, and be happy even if you are poor or rich, and help the brother and sister out that needs it. That's for sure. For others, wealth only leads to boredom. King Solomon was unquestionably one of the wealthiest men who ever lived. In his search for happiness, he tried everything: possessions, music, sex, great building projects, knowledge. But in the end, he declared about them, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity, all is vacant of spirit. Only God could satisfy his deepest longings and give him true happiness. Wow. So take it from someone that had everything: possessions, We all love possessions, material. We're the world of materialism. It is a cult. It is everything. We all have to have the new everything, and not necessarily me. I have. You'd be surprised what I'm wearing right now. I have old clothes on, and I am quite okay with it. Music. We all want to hear that brand new music, that brand new Drake, that brand new Lil Jon. We all want to hear it, right? It is all crap. Sex. Of course, all of us have wanted sex. We all have to go through that. Because it's just a part of the life. We see it everywhere we go. It's on the internet, it's on TV, it's on people's conversations, it's just everywhere. So great building projects. Imagine the great building project Solomon and his followers, basically, and his, tribe of friends or whatever. Imagine the things that they could build back then with all the possessions and all the money, to be able to do certain things that they can do and have slaves work for them and build certain things. Just imagine. And the knowledge. But at the end of the day, it's all crap because God was the only one that could satisfy him with the peace of happiness that we all long for. We all long for. On the other hand, many great people stay poor all their lives, either through choices such as missionary or a person who chooses to live modestly and give away money to help others. However, who go through life filled with resentment, jealousy, and bitterness because they want just a little bit more. They may have enough to satisfy their ligament needs, but instead of being thankful for what they have, which would make them unimaginably wealthy in the eyes of those in poorer nations, they are consumed by a desire for riches. After hearing this segment, and I know it just cut out a little bit, all I was basically saying was, because it probably cut out for 15 seconds, we're talking about happiness through property. And we only got a couple more paragraphs to go, and then we are going to end this episode today. And I hope everyone has got something from it, because it's definitely going to be something that you could possibly share with someone and help them. But Jesus made it plain, because basically we were talking about they may have enough to satisfy their ligament needs, but instead of being thankful for what they have, which would make them unimaginably wealthy in the eyes of those in poorer nations, they are consumed by a desire for riches, more and more and more. They believe in the key to happiness would be found in greater wealth. Growing up, and you tend to see, all right, well, why are they not really happy? They don't really seem happy. They always have all these different things and just don't really seem happy. And that was when I was real younger. And now it's like, wow, okay, well, now it makes sense. I didn't really have that connection and relationship with God and Jesus, the Holy Spirit. And it all starts to make more sense when I'm more mature and understanding. And it probably makes more sense for you as well. And with that being said, we're really going to get into that. Internet connection. You gotta love it. Alright, so basically the crybabies, weeping willies. Hopefully I got all that in. We're having internet connection because I'm trying to stay in a quiet, legitimate area of the apartment. So let's get it. As live radio, it will get better for RFN Radio, the Young Casper Show. So let's just stay tuned in. So basically, if you didn't hear it in a cutout, certainly he did not mean to imply that it said, happy are they that mourn. Certainly he did not mean to imply that a special blessing is promised to crybabies, weeping willies, or the emotionally upset. The verse was not intended